the trail again and again, hiking and hunting and fishing the land. Time is time well spent. We'll take it to the Delta, to the great white shores. There's so much to see and do. Mississippi outdoors, the great outdoors. Mississippi outdoors, the great outdoors. Mississippi outdoors, the great outdoors. Mississippi outdoors.
Welcome to Mississippi Outdoors. I'm Pamela Weaver.
And I'm Kevin Meacham. Thanks for joining us.
And our first story, we head to Copiah County.
The Outdoors crew is turkey hunting with a group of wounded veterans.
Let's go.
I'm the president of our nonprofit, Jeep Sullivan Outdoor Adventures, and we're based at Bonifay, Florida. And we've been blessed to be able to be in Copiah County for the last 5 years, to be able to do this turkey hunt with some great people around this area, and then also our wonderful warriors, military guys, personnel from all over the United States that get to come here and visit and make friends and turkey hunt with some of the best turkey hunters on some of the best turkey land in the South, I believe. Our Wings and Warriors event that it's been called and been named now is probably one of the best events that we get to do each year. We'll take about 50 guys this year in 8 different states, and we have a World War II veteran and his son, which is a Vietnam veteran, hunting with us this year, and then 15 other guys from, they've been, in all different conflicts, from Desert Storm to Iraq and Afghanistan. Good food every time we come here. I tell the guys to be ready to go on a diet when they leave Slay. We got so many people around that give their time and their money and just, so much effort put into this hunt every year. It's a blessing to a lot of guys that just need a little bit of downtime to really enjoy God's creation, and that's definitely here.
We're here in Copiah County on the Wings and Warrior Veteran Turkey Hunt. I have with me today Charles Harris. Is this your first time ever being in Mississippi?
Yep, never been here. Really looking forward to the opportunity to hunt turkeys with you.
That's good. Well, I come in here this morning and listen. Heard 4 birds. We're gonna try to split the difference between 2 of them. We're gonna ride down the Spire Lane. We also have with us today Gunner Palmer, my son. He's driving the golf cart. And Gannon Whittington, a buddy of his. He's gonna be along helping us. We don't do anything here. We're gonna go to Gannon and Jimmy Whittington's property and see what we can do there too.
We thought when we first got out of the bad boy buggy, we thought he was gonna just come roaring in. We made one call and he just gobbled right back at us and thought he was gonna be hot, but it ended up being with hens. So we scooted on down to another place and set up on another bird, and he was just raring to go. And he got to a creek and went across it, and we had Med and Gunner, his son, out there calling up a storm. And I mean, that bird was fired up. You could have thrown anything at him and he would have gobbled. It was pretty incredible experience last night.
We just got off a bird down close to Pearl River. He was henned up, so we just decided to back out and leave him alone. We didn't want to push him with those hens because they was trying to take him away. So we may get back on him sometime tomorrow.
In World War II, I spent about 3.5 years in the Navy. And after the Navy, I was in the Army and decided that it was a pretty good career, so I finished out my career in the National Guards and I ended up a retired Army major after 21 years of service. This is unbelievable. The people are so gracious. I can't believe the amount of help. You would think that I'm a complete invalid, the amount of help that I got while I was down here. Everything was fantastic. The organization, the people, meeting the veterans, and being able to celebrate this with my son was one of the greatest things that have ever happened to me.
I was in the United States Navy Seabees out of Gulfport, Mississippi, and went to Vietnam. I was honored and privileged to be able to be asked to hunt this particular event this year. All I wanted to do was bring my dad down for the flag ceremony, and the next thing I know, I got phone calls from Deanne and Jeep for both of us to be able to participate and hunt in this event. So what a privilege, what a blessing it was. We had gobblers all around us. It's an enjoyable hunt. The weather was absolutely gorgeous, and couldn't have been any better. I couldn't have asked for a better time. So been nice to got a gobbler, but that's part of hunting. It's turkey hunting, not turkey killing.
We're here this morning on the second day of the Wings of Warrior turkey hunt. It originated out of Copiah County, but we're right in the edge of Claiborne County this morning. We got Charles back with us. We got on some birds yesterday, and it was henned up bad, Copiah County. And we got Stevie McLemore. He hunts this property a lot, knows it well. He's going to be helping guide this morning, and Gunner's with us this morning too. So we're going to get on some birds and see what we can do.
So I joined the military in 2010. Went to Afghanistan and served over there May 30th, 2012. I stepped on an IED on a dismounted patrol and lost my right leg below the knee, my left leg above the knee, and also had a severe arm injury. You know, being conscious through all of it, you know, I remember going up in the air, coming down, hitting the ground, and looking over to my right and seeing one of my buddies sitting there not moving, and you know, trying to get up to help him, and then realizing that you're kind of in the same predicament. I ended up looking over to my left and seeing my team leaders coming to my rescue, and they got bandages put on me and my tourniquets and everything. And you know, I owe those guys my life. You know, they did exactly what they needed to do to save me. So, you know, I'm indebted to them for the rest of my life. So this morning we walked in and we bumped a hen off the roost, and birds was just gobbling. We didn't really have much choice as where we wanted to go, so we just kind of sat down, and birds ended up working away from us. Made another spot, and same kind of deal. Bird gobbled real hot on us, and we set up on a ditch and thought we was kind of set up in the right spot. Bird just ended up not coming out where we wanted him to.
That was a good bird. You see that big old beard?
Yeah.
That was a whole bird.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
The third set we made this morning, we was just driving, trying to get a bird fired up, and happened to see these birds in the middle of the road and get back into the woods, and hopped off the bad boy buggy and headed into the woods maybe 15, 20 yards and pulled the buggy down behind us. And then the birds ended up coming back out into the road, so we made a move on them. And these jakes come in there, and they just gobble up a storm. I was excited when the jakes come in. You know, we had originally thought that, you know, there might have been a longbeard in with those jakes, and I started getting my heart pumping and shaking, and the intensity and everything starts going up when you get that, and holding that gun there for so long, you know, you just get so excited and pumped up, you know. He came out, ran them jakes off there, and he was all excited to come find his hen. He come out originally about 60 yards, and couldn't see him, and he started getting closer and closer. And
Double beard, boys, double beard.
Is it really?
Man, that was awesome.
Oh man.
Good deal. Good deal.
That's something, Jake. He's coming in here.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You stuck with us.
Yeah.
Good job. You ever killed a double beard?
I haven't.
Well, you killed your first in Mississippi. I'm guessing probably a 9.5-inch beard, and he's got a double beard. And Charles said that's his first double beard, so we got to kill it in Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
And it's probably 4 inches long. We got one spur and no spur on the other side, which that's fairly common. I'll hold it right here. This sign here doesn't even have any indication where it ever was a full spur. And that's, a lot of that's genetics. You'll see that, you know, in turkeys, so. We're not.
This is awesome. I just appreciate the opportunity to come out here and hunt with you all. And man, it's just incredible. It was an incredible hunt.
You got the card I gave you yesterday. We need to do the game check before we move him. That way, if we get to the truck and the officer's there and checks us. Dude, it's gonna make us look like we sorry ain't happy.
The hunting aside, you know, that's icing on the cake. It's really the camaraderie of being back around guys that have been there and done that, you know, and just being able to bounce things off of them and talk like, you know, it's a family. The military community is just a big family, so it's awesome to be around all these guys. You know?
Punch it out right there and head to the truck. That way.
Did you know that money spent on Mississippi hunting and fishing license is just like an investment? The Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks uses money from license sales to enhance hunting and fishing, like providing public hunting opportunities on wildlife management areas, advising private landowners on deer and habitat management, providing public fishing opportunities on state lakes, and operating fish hatcheries for stocking public lakes and streams. So make an investment in the great outdoors. Buy your Mississippi hunting and fishing license today.
In our next story, we visit 4 river tributaries around the state.
The Outdoors crew is floating down the Big Sunflower, the Black Creek, the Pelahatchie Creek, and the Yakanukanee River.
Mississippi is blessed to have over 70 different rivers flowing throughout the state, eventually leading to the Gulf of Mexico. Today, we're going to float several of those major tributaries, starting with the Big Sunflower River. The Sunflower River is home to an abundance of wetlands, fish, and wildlife. It begins in Copiah County and flows nearly 250 miles until reaching the Yazoo River. Come with us and experience some of its beauty and splendor.
A lot of my work is on the Mississippi River and tributaries. The Big Sunflower, while you're floating down or working on the Big Sunflower, it's very pretty because for the most part you do have some riparian vegetation. If you look on the other side of the bank, of course, it's acres and acres of ag fields. But the Big Sunflower does retain some of its natural characteristics. We still have to deal with the sedimentation of these streams, maybe even go in there and remove it with a drag line or a dredge. We also need to deal with the environmental flows because during the summer and the fall, during the typical low water season, most of these rivers, including the Big Sunflower, cease flowing. And that's because they have lost their connection with the groundwater. And believe me, that is being addressed by multiple agencies right now. And we feel that eventually we'll be able to provide environmental flows for the Big Sunflower and other tributaries through various different means. And that's another major goal that we have here is to try to restore the flow regime during the low flow period. Well, I mean, certainly the invasive carp, the silver carp, the big head carp, the grass carp, and now the black carp, are a major environmental issue. I don't see us being able to really control the populations at this point. We have to learn to live with them. And really the number one thing I wish that Americans would do would have an appetite for them. And then we could have commercial fishermen go in there and harvest, you know, tons of these fish. And then they would end up on someone's plate, or they would end up as other kind of food products. So that's an important part, and we need more attention paid to the exploitation of these fish for commercial purposes.
Our next adventure takes us down one of the oldest river tributaries in Mississippi, the Yockanookanee River, which was channeled in 1914. As the river flows through the Yockanookanee Wildlife Management Area near Kosciuszko, it offers some beautiful scenery with large overhanging trees.
Well, the Yockanookanee was very unique in the fact that there's nobody around. It's quiet. There are no houses, and the very few bridges you encounter don't have lots of traffic over them. It's almost as though you're stepping way back in time, you know, to an earlier era without a lot of large population around. So it's kind of interesting, the fact that you can be that close to civilization and not see anybody. In the summertime, it can be nothing much more than a trickle. And then once some rain falls, it definitely rises very fast and changes dynamics when it rises. And it changes its course. It'll actually go one way when the water's down and another way when the water's up. As far as what you think is the main river may not necessarily have water in it year-round. But the scenery along it is beautiful. I mean, big cypress trees, which is in some of the brackish areas where water kind of stays after the flood waters go down, some of those little small lakes. Not any real large lakes, but there are some small lakes along it, and those, like I said, have cypress trees in them, and it's beautiful scenery. It's just, I think if you go back in time, the river is probably unchanged from, let's just say 50 to 100 years ago. Along that river, it's not developed, not a lot of houses anywhere close to the river because of the flooding, I think. But it just, you know, it's like stepping back in time. It hasn't changed. Unlike a lot of areas that have lots of, I guess, say recreational use, the river does seem to change as, you know, the amount of traffic on it. But I dare say there's very, very little traffic along some sections of it just because it's real remote. But it's beautiful scenery.
Pelahatchie Bay is located in the Ross Barnett Reservoir and fed by the beautiful Pelahatchie Creek, a world-class spot for canoeing and kayaking among cypress trees and backwater swamps. With easy access from several locations, paddlers can enjoy the serenity of the water as well as a wilderness experience.
It really is amazing how people don't realize how many waterways we have in Mississippi. Pelahatchie Creek is in my backyard. The bay is a great place to explore. We have a pretty large paddling group here in town. Actually, it's all of Central Mississippi, called the Central Mississippi Paddling Mafia. We plan trips all the time. We're going out a lot of times sunrise, sunset, some beautiful sunsets out here. The bay is a perfect area to view sunsets and sunrises just because there's very little distraction, very little light pollution. We get out here all the time, and on the creeks that we can go back on, you can go for miles and miles and not see another person. And on these trips, it doesn't matter what time of the year you go out, it always changes a little bit. You might go through the same 5-mile paddle every single month, and it'll change every single day you're there. And that's what we really love about it. I think we're very fortunate to live in a state with as many waterways as we have and that are friendly and accessible, and I'd love it to get more people out there and enjoy them.
Our final journey takes us down the Leaf River into the beautiful Pascagoula River, which eventually leads to the Mississippi Sound. Also known as the Singing River, the Pascagoula is the largest undammed river in the upper 48 states and is home to over 300 different species of birds with fantastic fishing opportunities too.
People like this river because it's beautiful, it's wild, and there's actually no roads to it unless you own private property. You got to get to it by boat. What I've heard is it's the last undammed tributary in the lower 48. And people want to keep it that way. So I know I do. I grew up hunting and fishing in this swamp. I almost yanked him up out of the water, he's so big. Well, it's a largemouth bass. They actually have spotted bass here too. But on this river, they got to be 12 inches to keep them. So we're gonna let this one go. We'll be nice to him too. Right down this straightaway here, we're fixing to enter into the Pascagoula River where Black Creek meets the Pascagoula. And then we'll go south from there to a launch, Wade Van Cleve Road.
The scenery here is fantastic. You don't see, especially when you get into the sections that are less used, the ones that are more remote, then you don't see all the litter and all of that stuff. You get to see a lot more wildlife because people haven't come through and scared it away. It's just it's Mississippi National Wild Scenic River, so I'd assume that anybody who comes down this river is going to have a really good time and see things that are just, the trees and the wildlife. It's beautiful. Sandbars, everything, you'd ever need and want from a great trip. It's just beautiful here.
This is a real pretty part of the river. Actually, there's a lot of cypress and gum trees grow right next to each other, and sometimes I can't tell the difference. But they're all over. You got a lot of wild trees, and I mean mature trees too. A lot of acorns drop here. This is a good part of the year. A lot of people hunting up here. You see these houseboats. They hunting camps and fishing camps is what they are. This is Berry Lake. This drain actually can come off of Black Creek when the river gets high enough, and also that dead lake that we were in feeds off to this also. So pretty good fishing, and you can see that guy up there trying to brim fish. So a lot of fishing here. 2 boat launches on it. It's kind of, typical of what the Pascagoula River looks like. There's a lot of what some people call oxbows down here. I think the term is mostly Dead River because on maps it says Steed Dead River, things like that. So instead of calling them oxbows down here, a lot of people call them Dead Rivers. It's beautiful. You can see all the cypress knees all the way around it. And like I said, Some of them are probably gum trees too.
I'm real proud that we have a river that hasn't been dammed. I think that's a big deal and want to keep it that way.
Hey, that's all the time we have for this week. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Join us again next time for more exciting adventures. Until then, I'm Pamela Weaver.
And I'm Kevin Meacham. See you outdoors.
Riding through the bayou, headed for the sky blue, back out on the trail again and again. Hiking and hunting and fishing the land, time is time well spent.